We're getting close to Purim in Torah Oir. Torah Oir, Megillas Esther, Dibra Maschel Vayoshet HaMelech LaEsther. The Alter Rebbe brings a posuk in Amos that says, Nofla v'lo yisoisif kum b'sulas Yisrael. Nofla is referring to Golus, which is called Nefila. The Yidden are in a matzav of Nefila, Beruchnius. We say, Harachmanu Yokem Lanu Asukas David Hanoifeles. And the pasuk says, Lo yisois nafla v'lo yisoisif kum b'sulas Yisrael. She won't get up anymore. So what does it mean? She won't get up anymore. The Yidden won't get up anymore. Why does it say this lashon? So the Chazal speak about it. And the Alter Rebbe explains that in Pnimis Anyonim it means that until the Geula comes, there's a matziv of Kima va'aliyah and Yerida and Nefila. There's an option. There could be two types of situations. It could be a situation which is elevated, standing up, elevated. There could be a situation of Yerida and Nefila. And the reason for that is because this world is a place of Helen v'Hester. And Gilui Elikus is Lamaila, Neilamis Al Yoinim. There's different levels of Gilui Elikus in different Eilamis. So to be on a higher level, you have to have a tnuah of Aliyah. You have to connect with what's higher. And that's the thinking of Shabbos, L'moshel, says in Chassidus that Shabbos is Aliyah Sa'olamos. Everything gets elevated. Because on Shabbos, we have a connection with a higher level of Kedusha that's in the higher worlds. And that shines into the neshama of a Yid. And therefore, you can be elevated. Ruchnius, you can get to a higher level. So this is the way it is until the Geula comes. So if someone is not being elevated, not looking to connect with what's higher, then it's a state of Helem v'Hester, of Choshech. But what's going to be L'Asad Lavi when the Geula comes? What's going to be? Then this world will be the place where there'll be the greatest Gilui Elikus. So the whole matzav will change. This world is going to be the place that's going to be the greatest Gilui Elikus. And not stam, there'll be Gilui Elikus in this world, but in this world there'll be a Gilui of Oir Hashem begilui rav otzum. Much, much more than all the Giluyim that take place now in Eilam Esel Yoinim. Because all the Giluyim in Eilam Esel Yoinim is from Seviv Kol Alman, Mamali Kol Alman, different levels of the Oyer that are Begilui. But Mehusay V'atzmusay Yisborech is concealed all over the place. Malay Chol Haaretz Kvoidei, Mehusay V'atzmusay Yisborech Nimtza B'chol Mokoim, but in the Eifen of Helim, he's not Begilui. But when the Geula comes, it's going to be Gilui Atzmusa Yemuhusa Yisborech Tafke Lamato in this world. And because there'll be this great Gilui of Mehusa Atzmusa Yisborech down here in this world, Begolui, so therefore there won't be any more need for Aliyos, to get up and to look to go higher. And that's what the pasuk is saying, Nofla v'lo yisoisif kum b'sulas Yisrael. After this Nefila, after this Golus, there's not going to be a need to get up and look to get high, to go higher. because down here, Kan Lamata, will be the greatest ultimate Gilui. Ki ani Hashem begilui rav lamata dafka. And then the Alter Rebbe says that this is connected with the fact that La'asid Lovoi is going to be the matzav of the world that is hapcha chashoichel l'nehoira. Till Mashiach comes, there is negativity in this world. There's a ruach hatumah in the world. There's choshech ruchni in the world. But when Mashiach comes, when the Gula comes, it's going to be as ruach hatumah avir min haaretz. There'll be no more choshech ruchni in the world, and this world that was full of, that had a ruach hatumah and choshech ruchni in the world, will be transformed l'nehoira, will become a place of oir. How do we see this? That La'asid Lovoi, the whole choshech will be transformed. So the Alter Rebbe brings that we see a big difference between the Gula of Mitzrayim and the Gula Asida. By the Gula of Mitzrayim it says, L'makei Mitzrayim b'vchoreihem v'yaroig melochim adirim. The Yidden came out of Mitzrayim, had to get out of Mitzrayim and come to Eretz Yisrael. So there was a of L'makei and L'hoirek. The Eibishter knocked and gave makis and killed and wiped out, was mevatel, was as the shlita of the negativity of the malachim that tried to interfere. This was an inyan of la'akfaya l'sitra achra levatflam u'lahachniyam, but not that the choshech was transformed to light. But by the Gula Asida it says, Oz epoich el amim sofa brura likroi kulam b'shem havaya v'holchu amim rabim lo'ir havaya, that it will become a matzav that in the world, the whole world will be transformed. There won't be any choshech anymore in the world. The whole world will be transformed to look for the Eibishter, to be connected with the Eibishter. So in the world is going to be a matzav of ishapcha chasheichel nehoira, and this will come together with the fact that the gilui, that mehusev atzmusay is baruch, that until then is in the matzav of helim and choshech, so to say, will become begilui in this world, when this world will come a situation of ishapcha chasheichel nehoira. So it's going to go together, these two things. That in the world, it's ruach hatumah avim min haaretz. It's going to be epech alamim sofa brura likri kulam b'shem havaya. And then, and together with this will come the gilui of mehusev atzmusay baruch, which was in the matzav of helim, will become nisgale, and dafke lemata, where it's going to take place, inyan of ishapcha chasheichel nehoira. And then the Alter Rebbe says that me'ein zeh hoya hanes shel Purim. That by Yitzias Mitzrayim, the Nes of Yitzias Mitzrayim, we didn't have this. This didn't take place. But in the Nes of Purim, there was a similar thing. Because what happened in the Nes of Purim? Shenishapech leiva chashveirosh letoiv oisoi hape atzmoi she'omar v'ha'om lasois boi katoiv be'inecha. He said that to Haman, hu atzmoi Omar v'atem kisvu ala Yehudim katoiv be'einechem. He himself said to the Yidden, you could write whatever you want. Shehu inyan ishapcha chashoichel nehoira. So what happened to Achashverosh? He became transformed. Paroi did not become transformed. The Shiva Malachim in Eretz Yisrael did not become transformed. They all became levatlam ulachniyam. But in the Nes of Purim, what happened? Who was the one in charge? Achashverosh. And Achashverosh, he's the one who gave out the gzeira against the Yidden. Haman asked him to, but he was the melech, and he gave out the gzeira on the Yidden. And he, the same Achashverosh, didn't have to be removed. He didn't have to be drowned in the Yam Suf. No, he himself was nepach l'toiv, and he said, Kisvu ala Yudim katei b'nechem b'shem HaMelech. So this shows on the inyan of ishapcha chasheichel nehoira, And therefore, this is an Inyan of Nigla Kveid Hashem Lemata B'mokim Choshech Dafka. So therefore, in the Yontif Purim, there's also a specific Gilui of Mehusei V'atzmusei Yisbarach more than other Yomim Tovim. This is why in the whole Megillah it says HaMelech Stam. It doesn't say the Eibish's name, it says HaMelech Stam. Alter Rebbe says in Torah Megillah says it doesn't say the Eibish's name because L'mayla Mishamavaya, it's higher than Shamavaya, it's Mehusei V'atzmusei Yisbarach. And HaMelech Stam is also Meramez on Mehusei V'atzmusei Yisbarach. That's Megillah in the Megillah. So this is an Inyan that's explained in Torah Oyer. And the Rebbe explains that this is also the reason that the Medrash says Kol HaMoyadim B'Teilim Chutz Kol HaMoyadim B'Teilim L'Moisa Mashiach Chutz Mipurim, which means that all the Giluyim of all the Yomim Tovim when Mashiach comes will be Kishraga B'Tiara, like a candle in daylight, B'Yachas LaHagiluyim D'Losid Lavoi. Masha'en came the Gilui of Purim, Yiyah Nirgash B'Toikif Gam L'Osid Lavoi, Kivin Shegam B'Zman Hazeh Hu Me'ein Hashleimus D'Losid Lavoi. So this is the Inyan of the Gilui Elikus Lamata Dafke, B'Oifen Shloi Hoya Me'olam, Mehusei V'atzmusei Yisbarach B'Nizgala in this world. And this will come together with a smatzav of his hapcha chashoichel in the hoira. There's a sikha in Shabbos Parshas Boi Tafshin Nun Aleph. That was in the time that the Persian Gulf War began. That's when Saddam started to send missiles to Eretz Yisrael. So the Rebbe spoke then about this that's happening. And the Rebbe said that the Shaychus Mu'rois Eile Libnei Yisrael Hi Hayidiyah Shehigiya Zman Gulaschem. The Rebbe said, what does this have to do with us? That there is a person, Saddam, and the Rebbe called him a Tzeirer HaYehudim, who is trying Shemenase Lifgoya Chas V'Sholem, trying Soine Yisrael Shemenasim Lifgoya Chas V'Sholem. So the Rebbe said, Ein Bohem Mamish V'lo Yale Hadover B'Yodom, and Hashaychus Dimurois Eile L'Bnei Yisrael Hi Hayidiyah Shehigiya Zman Gulaschem. And therefore, Imdu Hochen Kulchem L'Kabolas Pnei Mashiach Tzedkenu, get ready to greet Mashiach, especially through adding in Torah mitzvahs. So what's the biur in this? What's the shaychus that there was a Tzeirer HaYehudim who was trying L'Fgoya Chas V'Sholem in the Yidden, and this is a message that Higiya Zman Gulaschem. What exactly is the shaychus? So earlier in the Sikha, the Rebbe explains that in the Nevuos HaGeula, we find Matzinu b'Nevuos HaGeula ribui psukim shetoichnam al devar hashvira vehabitul dedaled hamalchiyos sheshibdu es bnei Yisrael. That there are many psukim Nevuos HaGeula that in connection with the Geula that's coming, there's going to be a shvira and a bitul of certain kingdoms. Sheshibdu es bnei Yisrael, that they did trouble to the Yidden. Ula dugma, the Rebbe brings psukim. One pasuk says, Nofla bovel vatishover. Another pasuk says, Zevach Lashem bebotzra. Another pasuk says, V'olam Eshim ba'artzi and lishpeit asareisov. So there's going to be an elimination process. In connection with the Geula that's coming, there's going to be an elimination process of certain kingdoms and certain people, certain rulers in the world. V'yisharu eile sheyazru v'yisayu l'bnei Yisrael. Then there's going to be remaining those that are going to help the Yidden and assist the Yidden. כמו שכוסו ושילחתי מהם פליטים, והביאו את כל אחיכם מכל הגויים מנחה להשם בסוסים וברכב, על הר קודשי ירושלים, ויסיירו מזה עוז אפויך אל עמם, סוף הברורו לקרוא כולם בשם השם לא עבדי שכם אחד. The Rebbe is saying that when it comes time for the Gula, that there's going to be a Ruach HaTom Ha'aver Min Ha'oretz, and a Ishapcha HaShoichel in the so the Ruach HaTom Ha'aver Min Ha'oretz connects with certain people in the world as well. Certain rulers, certain people, that they are Ra, and they have to be eliminated. They're not going to be transformed. It's something that can't be transformed. It's Ra Gomur. So it has to be broken and eliminated. For example, Amalek. Amalek, it's a mitzvah to wipe out. That's one of the things Moshiach is going to do. Sholish mitzvahs in Stavu Yisrael. Lamanes lehem melech, v'limchois zarei shel Amalek, v'livnos beis abchira. You have to wipe out Amalek. Amalek is Ra. You have to wipe him out. Then there's a certain element of Yishmael that's Ra. It has to be wiped out. And this pasuk speaks about Nofla Bovel Vatishover. So Bovel and Zevach Lashem Bebotzra, these are places in Iraq. And this is where Saddam, the Tzeirer HaYehudim, was in Iraq is Bovel. It's in the Persian Gulf, but it's Bovel. And Botzra is a town over there, Basra. And this is where he was. So this Indian that the Eibishter brought, that this Tzeirer HaYehudim, he wanted to wipe out Eretz Yisrael. He threatened he's going to send Scud missiles. He wanted to wipe out Eretz Yisrael. The Rebbe called him a Tzeirer HaYehudim. But what happened was that in a short time, he got a big mapola because the ones who want to help, the American army got involved and they got him out of control. They knocked him down. They got a hold of him and they forced him to stop what he was doing. They got the whole place into control. And therefore, in other words, it came time to eliminate this Ra that was in the world. That's the shaykhus that has to Yidden, to Yigiyas Mangulaschem. He was a Tzeirer HaYehudim, and he had to be eliminated. So that's why the Eibishter made this happen. It was just a scare, so to say. The Rebbe said, not to be afraid. Al tisyaru, don't be afraid. But a lot of people were afraid. But the Rebbe said, don't be afraid. But the point was, because it's not to make anybody afraid. It came the time to eliminate this element of Rad in the world. As a chonah to the Geula, because time for the Geula, Zigi as Mangulaschem. So therefore he has to be eliminated. In order that the world should be able to be transformed to good. The Rebbe spoke about this afterwards. The Rebbe said it's mamish a nesu pele godel that happened. That in such a short time they got him under control and his whole koyach stopped. And without much negative things happening, they thought it might be a terrible mulchama. It was expected that it could be a very terrible mulchama that will involve a lot of people and a lot of deaths. And Lepoil, it was very smooth. And on the day of Purim was the Nitzochin. On the day of Purim, it started at the beginning of Shvat, and on the day of Purim was the Nitzochin, and then that they got a full control over him, and then they were moisif more and more in embarrassing him and putting him down, and so on. And just for the record, the history of the matter is that the Rebbe spoke about L'makei Mitzrayim b'cheireihem, that this is the Indian of L'makei Mitzrayim b'cheireihem, that the b'cheirei Mitzrayim came to a Meitzar Yisrael and to take away his koyach. But it says L'makei and it doesn't say L'hoireik. They didn't kill him then. They just knocked him and took away his koyach and put him and got him under control, but they didn't kill him. And the Rebbe said by one of these sikhs, Oid Chazoin Lamoyed. That's what they say. In the Bilti Muga. In the Bilti Muga it says, the Rebbe said, Oid Chazoin Lamoyed. So Lepoil, what happened was that he wasn't killed, but it looked under control, and the American forces went back to America. But a few years later, he acted up again. And then the American forces went back again. And was a whole frightening situation. The Americans this time were looking to get him and make an end of him. So it was a big search. There was he was hiding all over the place. It's a big search, and the Maisa was that I think this is the way it went. They found him on Yud Beis Tammuz. And then the Iraqis decided that the official Iraqi country of Iraq is going to make a mishpat for him. They're going to make a big judgment for him. And his Ascholas HaMishpat began on Yutes Kislev. And on Tes Teves, Erev Asor B'Teves, Tolu Oisoi Ves Oizrov Alo Eitz. That's what happened. Yeah. And I remember that Rabbi Shlomo Majeski was bringing a few days afterwards. The next Shabbos, I think it was on a Shabbos. Asor B'Tevis was on Sunday. This is in Tafshin Samach Zayin. This took place. Tafshin Samach Zayin. This happened, and I heard Rabbi Majeski was saying that if we follow the Rebbe Sichis, we should be jumping to the roof because. What happened on Asar B'Teves? Somach Melech Bovel al Yerushalayim. And now the Eibishter arranged that on the day before Asar B'Teves, the Melech Bovel in this door was hung. A day before, Tes Teves, just before Asar B'Teves started, Maktim Refuah, he was engaged in this battle. Okay, fine, anyway. So we talk about the Geula has to be the Ruach HaTumah Avim in the Oretz and the Sapchach Sheichel in the Hoira. So there's two in Yonim Takeh. It has to be this Ruach HaTumah Arvim in the Oretz. And then there's going to be that whoever's all the remaining ones, Visharu Eile, Sheyazru, V'Yisayu L'Bnei Yisrael, V'Yiseiru Mizeh, Oz Epech Elamim Sofa Bruru, L'Kulam B'Shem Havai, Lov Shech Mechat. So it's going to be Mamish Sapchach HaSheichel in the Hoira. And therefore, there will be this Gala Lamata Dafka, that the Mehusay Vatzmusay Baruch, which was always behelim or bechoshech, so to say, it was going to become begoloil the eine koil the matadaf. This is the Indian versteht in this forum. Now there's one more noch a Sach that I'm going to mention over here, talking about this in the Sikha of Parshas Truma Tafshin Nun Aleph. The Rebbe speaks about the various types of nisim. There's the Nes of Purim, and there's the Nes of Yetzias Mitzrayim, of Pesach. And the Rebbe says a Gishmak Vort over here. The Rebbe has a Shaila. Shaila is, the Gemara Zokt, that Kimu v'kiblu ha'Yehudim, Kimu masha kiblu kvar. B'matan Torah kofa Kodesh Baruch Hu Aleim Sahar Kegigis. B'meile mikan moidor Rabeloi Raisa shekiblu ba'onis. The Yidden could say that they were forced to accept the Torah. And the Gemara says, Hodor kiblu b'meach hashverish. And Rashi says, Me'avas hanes shenas Elohem. That by Matan Torah kofa Kodesh Baruch Hu Aleim Sahar Kegigis, it could seem that they were forced. They weren't really interested. But after the Yidden saw the Nes of Purim, they accepted the Torah willingly, and this is the ending of Kimu Masha Kiblu Kvar. Frekte Rebbe, Sorech Lahoven, Mai Umei the Nes Purim, Shebigloloi Kimu Masha Kiblu Kvar, Berotznu Besimcha, Mei Hanes de Pesach, Yetzias Mitzrayim, Shebehem Shechlozeh, Hoyamatan Torah, and nevertheless, Kiblu Aboinis. What's the Nes of Purim stronger than the Nes of Yetzias Mitzrayim? The Matan Torah was just after the Nisim of Yetzias Mitzrayim. The Adarabbe, Klolos in the Yetzias Mitzrayim, Hayevtech Nisim Gdoilim, Shaloi Be'erech Lagabe Anes de Purim. The Aval Pikein, Loi Hoysa Kabbalas HaTorah Berotznu B'Simcha Me'avas Anes Shenas Olehem, Ele B'Nes Purim Davka, question mark, exclamation mark. So this is a big question. Why Epis? Is this so? Yeah. So what's the hesber? So the hesber is behektim Habiur b'chidush the Nes Purim shalei motzinu dugmosoi gam b'hanes de Pesach. There's a chidush in Nes Purim. And when the chiddush of Nes Purim is that it was ba'ofen de ishapcha chashoicha l'nehoira shenishapach leva chashverish l'toiv oisei apeh atzmai she'omar hu atzmai omar ma she'en came b'Nes Pesach harigam la'achrei sheparoi hiskim l'shloyachas b'nei Yisrael nepach liboi v'yidoi f'achrei b'nei Yisrael ad shevayinayir Hashem es Mitzrayim b'toich hayom lo'i nishar bohem ad echod. So that was only an union of lakfayel l'sitra achra levatlo malachniyo. What does this mean? The Nes of Pesach, which is a Nes Golui Shilmayla Me'ateva, the main emphasis is that there's a great Gilui Milmayla. Nigla Aleya Melech Malchem Lochem HaKadosh Baruch Hu U'Ga'olam. It's a great, unbelievable Gilui Milmayla, Nes Golui. U'B'meile Nisbat Lamenagit. So when the Eibishter is revealed, there's no more Mitzrayim. Ois Mitzrayim, S'nishtober. This battle Amenagit. But what's the Chiddush of Nes Purim? It's a different thing. Chiddush of Nes Purim is, the emphasis is to get the Teva to perform the Nes. It's a Nes HaMelubash B'Teva. The taich of Nes HaMelubash B'Teva is to get the Teva to perform the Nes. So the dogash here is, if you have to get the Tachtoin, the Teva, to perform the Nes, so you can't just be mevatel the menagid. You have to transform him. You have to transform him to good. The Teva was working against the Yidden. Achashverosh is the Moilech Bekipa, and that's man, and he's putting out Gzeira on the Yidden. If you have to get the Teva to perform the Nes, and that's what Nes HaMelubash B'Teva means. So then you have to be mahapich the Achashverosh, that he should work along and perform the Nes. So this is the teretz to the shaila. Teretz to the shaila is, since the Nes of Pesach was mainly a Gilui Milmayla, so Kabbalah Satayra that the Yidden were mekabel by Har Sinai behemshech is also mainly mitzad the Gilui Milmayla. That's how the Alter Rebbe explains in Torah Oyer what it means. Kaf Aleim Har Kigigis, that it means Har represents a Ava El Yoina. Shenikra Har Kigigis Shudavar Amakif Shal Yidei Zen is Oirer Bohem Ha'aval Hashem. The Eibishter shined upon the Yidden Aval Yoina, and that got them to be to go along. The Kivish is Oirer Zu Belibam Loyhoyam Mitzidam Bepchira Verotzoin Hashem Atzmam Levad El Al Yidei Agilu Milmayla Hareze Kemoishe Keblu Bainis. This is what the Alter Rebbe explains. That's Pshati Keblu Bainis. Mashain came by Nes Purim. What kind of Nes was that? Mitzad HaTachtoin, that the Tachtoin should perform the Nes. The Tachtoin should be transformed. Kivin Shanes Shenaselem Hoya Be'ikim Mitzad HaTachtoin Nes HaMelubash B'Teva Nase Gama Kiyum de Kabbalah Satayra from within themselves. Mei Atzmam. That's called the Sarusa de Letzata Mitzad Atzmam Berotzen Gomer. So even though it came Me'avas HaNes, but what's Pshat Me'avas HaNes? Me'avas HaNes means, since this Nes was Belevushe HaTeva Mitzad HaTachtoin, they even saw such a thing, that the Tachtoin himself was transformed, that got them as well, that they themselves were Mekabel B'Ra'ava Berotzen Gomer Mitzad Atzmam, the Hesem to the type of Nes that it was. This is the Rebbe's Pshat. Then the Rebbe says that you have two types of Nisim. There's the Nisim of Yitzias Mitzrayim, there's the Nes of Purim, and each one has a Maila, and each one has a Chesorim. The Maila of the Nes of Pesach is that it's a Nes Golui, Shel Maila Me'ateva. The Nes is Begolui. But on the other hand, there was no Ishapcha Chashoichel Nehoira. There was just Nisbatel, Iskafia, not as Hapcha. The Nes of Purim accomplished that it was mehapich the Tachtin itself, that is Hapcha Chashoichel in the Hoira, but the Nes itself is not so begolui, because it's in Melubash B'Teva. The Nes itself is not so revealed. But the Shleimus will be the Nisim of the Gula Asida. Nisim of the Gula Asida is known. Ki meit seischa me'eretz Mitzrayim arenu neflois. Is known the taich of the Tzemach Tzedek that's brought in many places. The Tzemach Tzedek explains, and what does it mean? Ki meit seischem eretz Mitzrayim and on the floors. The simple prat you could think it means just as in the days of we went out of Mitzrayim, I will show you wonders. Tzemach Tzedek says no. It means it's going to be considered niflois even in comparable to your meit seischem eretz Mitzrayim. Ki meit seischem eretz Mitzrayim are on the floors. There'll be such great miracles that are going to be considered miracles even in comparable to the miracles that took place when the Yid went out of Mitzrayim. That means neflois, afilu be'erech of the neflois of Yitzias Mitzrayim. That's the Tzemach Tzedek's pshat. I once saw in Kedushas Levi from the Baditcheve Rav, Rabbi Yitzchak Baditcheve, he brings the pasuk Ki meitzes Mitzrayim and neflois, and he explains it with a moshel. He says that if there was an oni who had nothing, and suddenly somebody gave him $1 million, you can imagine in his simcha and excitement. He had nothing, and somebody gave him $1 million. If a week later, somebody else is going to come and give him another time $1 million, is he going to get so excited and happy like it was the first time? No, no. If you give him 100 million, he'll have that same excitement. Maybe he'll have that same excitement. So if it says Ki made seischem eretz Mitzrayim and the floors, if it's going to be the same type of miracles again, it's not going to be considered the floors. We used to this already. So that itself tells us that it means neflois afilu be'erech of the neflois shahoyu b'yitzias Mitzrayim. So the neflois, the nisim are going to be with the greatest gilui, such great neflois that never happened yet. It will be such a gilui of neflois. B'yachad im zeh, sagt der Rebbe, there'll be the shleimus onion, but es wird durchnehmen the tachtein. The shleimus amitas is that it's a gilui darga nalas v'yoyser shenimsheches v'choideres v'nasis gam mitzad ha'tachtein. In simple pshatim it means, in simple words it means that there'll be neflois afilu be'erech to the nisim of Yitzias Mitzrayim. But from deswegen, it's not going to be mevatel the world. It's going to be mehapech Mitzrayim l'kedusha k'meshekosov kiyoz epech alam himself a brura lov de shechem echad. That's the shleimus hanisim. That it's a combination of both nisim together, of Nes of Mitzrayim, Yitzias Mitzrayim, and the Nes of Purim. It's going to come combination. They're going to work together. It's going to happen together. So b'pashtus, this is a big chiddush. Why? Because b'pashtus we say that a Nes melubush b'teva. In order that it should be melubush b'teva, it has to go through more hell. It says that Rebbe brings here from Torah Oyer, and it says that. The nisim that come, that are melubush in teva, go through the heyach rein of Shem Havaya. The nisim that are l'mayla me'ateva come through the ois yud of Shem Havaya. So this is a big difference. In other words, nisim that are l'mayla me'ateva come from the ois yud of Shem Havaya. The highest level of Shem Havaya comes straight down in this world, so it's begilui mamish l'mayla me'ateva. Nesam melubush b'teva has to go through the heyach rein of Shem Havaya in order to be melubush in the teva. But those oktmen that can be nisim l'mayla me'ateva l'gamri, the flois gidoilis moi whatever, begolui. Nevertheless, it's going to be it's going to come gam mitzad ha'tachten. We don't understand what that means exactly. That's a chiddush though. That it's al derech the gilui of mahusay vatzmusay was gerat frier. It's al derech the gilui of mahusay vatzmusay was l'mayla f'nal ha'gbolis, and it can accomplish that. There'll be this chibur of the l'mayla me'ateva l'gamri that's going to be melubush in the teva. Yeah, because in general, in general, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a zichuch of the ganze Welt, and das wird sein der Ort where it's going to be the greatest gilui. So that's then the nisim shelamaylim etevel gamri will be absorbed and durchnehmen the tachtein the Welt allein. That's what the Rebbe explains here in the Sikha. Noch ein Wort, they get to the simcha of Purim. The Rebbe explains that because that we see that the simcha of Purim, of the Nes Purim, because of Nes Purim, the simcha that there is greater than the simcha of Pesach. Simcha of Purim is greater than the simcha of Pesach. Pesach is nisim shalamayla mi'ateva, and nevertheless the simcha is not so strong. Purim is nes hamelubush b'teva, and nevertheless the simcha is much more. Simcha of Purim is adalei adal ma'alim medid v'akbola. The simcha of Adar is marbim b'simcha, very much simcha. Also al derech Purim, marbim b'simcha, Dr. Rebbe. And the trial is why? Why is the simcha of Purim greater than the simcha of Pesach? So the Torah is like this. The Rebbe says, Simcha and Nes have a common point. Nes is the Indian of Pritzas given Drei Teva. Nes breaks through the Gedorim of Teva. And Simcha is also Poiritz Geder. Simcha breaks through the regular, normal behavior. And when a person's besimcha, he dances, he does things that he doesn't usually do. So, the pshat is like this. When you speak about Pritzas Geder, a Nes is Poiritz Gidrei Ateva. Let's look at Geder Kipshute. What's a Geder? A fence, a wall. Geder is a wall, a fence that blocks, that you can't get through. So there's two options. If you want to get through, what do? So one option is, be mevatel the Geder. Take it away. Take away the Geder, and then you can get through. Okay, it's a relief. You took away the Geder, now we can get through, we're happy, fine, good. But another option is, if somebody could accomplish that the Geder remains, and somehow we've got a way to go through the Geder, and it shouldn't block us. We can go through the Geder. That will be an unbelievable excitement that the simcha will be much greater. So this is the Indian, that Nes Shalom Maila Me'ateva. Okay, so the fact that the Gidrei Ateva were broken is not such a chiddush. Because the Nes Shalom Maila Me'ateva came, and it's the Gevorn Ois Mitzrayim. Ois Mitzrayim is Bittul Gidrei Ateva. It's not here anymore. Tubu B'Yamsuf, finished. Mashenkin, Nes from Purim, that it's still here. Achashverosh is still here, and nevertheless, he's working along. Ados is Pritzas Gidrei Ateva Mamish. So therefore, it brings a simcha that's Poiritz Geder, Maila, Harve Yosef from the Nisim of Pesach. That's what Rebbe explains over here. It's a very beautiful sikha. Truman and Aleph. Anyway, Marbin Besimcha Funador is a Riboy Amiti, Maila Mabdida V'Hakbola. Und der Shleimus HaSimcha wird sein, wenn Moshiach wird kommen, wie steht in Medrash, that has two psukim. Yismach Hashem b'maisov and Yismach Yisrael b'oisov. The Medrash says, Samach lo inemar ala Yismach. The Shleimus HaSimcha will be when Mashiach will come. The Gula Amitis v'Hashleima will be the Shleimus HaSimcha. Yimoles choik pinu v'simcha soilam al reisham u'bekoriv mamish v'lo yisacher oid klal u'klal. Was?
You're on the spot for a second?
Yeah.
I'll do a word with Hashem Tevav. You said a word to the year. You have a short word?
He wants to know something about Tovshin Peivov. No. Tovshin Peivov is a lot of Rosh Tevis of Tovshin Peivov. One of them is Poideu Matzel, Poideinu Matzileinu Meil Mushmecha, and Poideu Matzel. What else could you say? Purim Mashiach. All right, Purim Mashiach. Good. Fine. Okay.